What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni, and I am joined by Statman Bains. Thank you very much for joining me here today. He's got a massive smile on his face, and he's got a Germany jersey on, and that's going to be a massive clue to what we're going to be discussing. But before we do get into the topic, make sure you do like, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. And Statman Bains' details will be down there. All of his social medias, they'll be all clickable links. So before we finish this stat, we got to get all your social media stuff so I can add them in the descriptions, my bro. But thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Right now, I am buzzing. I can't believe my football club has made a footballing decision for once. And I'm listening to videos of Ralph Ragnick, and I'm like, you can talk football. It's none of this passion, desire nonsense that we've seen under Ollie. He actually knows what he's talking about. Like, it's just such a breath of fresh air right now.
I mean, to those who are not too sure of who Ralph Ragnick is, I just got a little bit of information on him. Ragnick joined Red Bulls as the director of football at both Salzburg and RB Leipzig, and he served as the head coach of Salzburg between 2015 and 2019. He helped oversee their expansion into European football, and he emphasized the recruitment of unproven players and developing youth systems with a worldwide scouting base, alongside an attacking on-pitch philosophy across their clubs. As a result, Red Bull clubs rose in market value from 120 million euros to 1.2 billion euros during his tenure. Even more importantly, when you look at the football that this man has helped shape, so for example, it's widely recognized that he helped shape the gegenpressing, whereby the team, after losing possession, immediately attempts to win back possession rather than falling back to regroup. And we're seeing that today. Thomas Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Hasenhüttl, Jurgen Klopp, they all say that this guy is the one who really started the foundation and the basis of this whole quote-unquote gegenpress that has changed world football as we see it. So, Statman Bains, how is this guy going to come into Manchester United and start the revolution?
Listen, I think the biggest thing for me here, we always say with United right now, we play freestyle football. There's no plan to how United play. Straight away, you can tell he knows football. There's going to be a clear identity, which we've been lacking for the last 3 years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So straight away, it makes such an impact to our team. And even then, like I've heard him say I think Chelsea were linked with him as an interim manager before, and he said he wants a role after. So that's the biggest thing for me, the biggest positive to take out of this. That say, for example, after the 6 months, hopefully he gets a role at the club in it as a director of football. I think they've been saying can't remember what they've been saying, but it does seem like he's going to be staying at the club after this. Obviously, this news is still fresh, like by the time we're recording this, so we don't have all the information.
Yes,
but it's a positive.
But no, I saw a few comments on social media, and United definitely have the intention of keeping him much longer after his little caretaker patch with the club, which, like, that 6 months, it could be revolutionary for you. It's a difference between a top 4 finish and perhaps not even getting European football if things were to continue under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick. So, but in terms of that move, does that change your mind slightly going forward, like with the board? Like, 'cause it's like you said, it's like, you just said they finally made an actual footballing decision for the club.
Obviously, like, the opinions on the board are still the same. We've seen the same nonsense throughout so many years. So, like, one right decision is not going to change my mind on the Glazers, on Ed Woodward and stuff. But right now, I can say the club have done something very, very well, and the entire fan base for me are very happy right now.
So do you think that the players who perhaps weren't too happy with the management of Ollie and his coaching staff may perhaps think twice about looking at other destinations? Because I know that there's rumors of players like Paul Pogba not wanting to sign at Manchester United and continue there. So do you think a decision like this can turn it around for him?
I'll be honest with Paul Pogba. I think the only man that could actually convince him to stay was Zidane. And obviously, Ralph Ragnick's not Zidane. So I think no matter what, Paul Pogba will definitely leave. But I think there's also been so many reports, the likes of Alex Telles, Donny van der Beek. These players don't play enough. They never really got a chance. They never got a consistent run in the side. So hopefully now, like everyone always says, a new manager comes in, is like a breath of fresh air for every single player. Everyone should be given a chance, which is the biggest positive. Because we always say, for example, Harry Maguire has been shocking this season. But does he ever get dropped? The answer is
No.
no. He still plays week in, week out. Same thing with Luke Shaw, for example. Luke Shaw hasn't been the same Luke Shaw that we saw last season. Have we given Alex Tellez a chance? The answer is no.
No, absolutely, and I could speak from previous experience with Tuchel coming in, just how quickly a positive manager who actually knows what they're doing and can implement their philosophy with a group of players, just how quickly things can turn around. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a repeat of what we did, because I mean, him coming in and winning the Champions League, that's an exception to the rule. And then doing what he's doing now and picking up from there, we're walking on cloud nine at the minute. So you get me, but with this, honestly, like the way I see it is, it's always been about the footballing concerns with your club. It's like you lot are not too concerned about what's going on off the field, which is the way it should be. But like, it's the blatant little things, like the not fixing the midfield, and it's just like you said, just not having any kind of tactics, that sort of freestyle football thing, that it was so much of a problem that anybody outside of football was able to point out the issue. And I always say, if there's someone who hasn't got quite that level of expertise to accurately tell you what's wrong with what's going on in your club, there's a very, very serious problem. And that's what was going on at Manchester United. But in terms of like the capacity of how Ragnick's going to come in, do you know if, like, at what capacity is he going to be bringing in his whole coaching staff? Is he going to change the whole scouting? Because this guy is a unique kind of dude. He's like the full package. So do you know to what extent he's bringing in his team?
I think currently there hasn't been any reports in it because it's still not 100% confirmed by the time we're recording this. But I think surely, like, if you listen to Ralph Ragnick, he seems like a dictator in it.
Yeah.
Surely he would want everything his way. So from a United point of view, I hope people like Michael Carrick, Mike Phelan are kind of gone in the nicest possible way.
Yeah. So in that sense, are you worried? Because I've always suspected, because I thought United were going to go for Conte. That's a move to me that really would have made sense. But then when you didn't, I sort of questioned the board in saying, is it because they don't want a manager there that's going to challenge their agendas too much? Or do they want someone there who's got that right balance, who's going to keep their mouth shut and just, toe the line for them? Do you think that's what we have to be? Well, that's what United fans have got to be careful of Ragnick. Because listen, I don't know what his character's like in the boardroom, but is that something that you can see causing problems going forward? Or do you think that the board have accepted him for what it is and they're just going to have to move forward with his character?
I think when you make an appointment like this, you have to accept it. Like, I know, for example, Ralph Ragnick, if he doesn't get full control, he's going to leave. There's no reason you appoint a man, like an interim manager like Ralph Ragnick, like, say, if he does get a role at the club, without fully backing it. One thing I also think could be interesting, we know with, like, for example, Red Bull, they built a sustainable model.
Yes.
Ralph Ragnick's built a sustainable model, like, in terms of, like, their talent ID is top notch.
Yes.
So hopefully maybe United are trying to look at a new way of going forward with the club, which would be brilliant, because I've always said this, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we signed the bigger players. We tried playing out from the back, but then you signed Wan-Bissaka. You signed Harry Maguire, who doesn't really complement Victor Lindelof. Like, we signed a lot of big names, but do they actually fit a certain style of play? The answer is no.
No, absolutely. They're just thrown together, or they're available in the market. United can afford it. It's going to bring in revenue. Boom, make that signing. So obviously that in itself is going to definitely stop with the expertise that Ragnick is going to bring. But that also brings us on to this weekend, Sunday. It will be Chelsea versus Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. And I must say, like, and I mean this in the most nicest way, I can't really see anything beyond the Chelsea win. We've just had Juventus at the Bridge and we've absolutely thrashed them 4-0. Our players are flying at the minute. Confidence at the Bridge is flying. But knowing my luck as a Chelsea fan, you will probably have Ragnick in the seat on Sunday.
No, he won't. He needs
you don't think so?
I think he needs his work permit. So it'll probably be Arsenal will be his first game. So he's still got Michael Carrick.
Oh, is that the whole Brexit situation and that, right?
It probably is something to do with that, because I think right now Ralph Ragnick's in Russia, in it, with Lokomotiv
Moscow. Yeah. Okay, well, I brought that because I ain't been in the UK for like 7 years, so like these things happened after I left, so sometimes I forget. Do you know what I mean? But I could breathe a sigh of relief there, because Chelsea were always the ones with the luck, the new quote unquote new manager bounce. But we'll talk about the caretaker manager a little bit, Michael Carrick. I know he's been very, very short into his caretaker position, But have you seen anything so far from him that's a bit more positive than Oli going forward, or that you might see differently going into Sunday?
I think right now it's kind of hard to tell after just judging him after one game against Villarreal. But one thing I would say, defensively, we seem to have some sort of structure about us like the other day. For example, there
Right.
was at times where, like, you know how everyone says Ronaldo doesn't press, Ronaldo doesn't help out defensively. It was almost like a 4-4-2 when we were defending at times with Ronaldo and Martial up top, and then Fred kind of pushed into the left-hand side, and then Donny van der Beek dropped back. So, like, straight away, we actually saw some sort of defensive structure, which was a massive positive. We kept a clean sheet. We haven't done much of that this season at all. So that was a positive, but at the same time, it's hard to tell. It's
Yeah.
been one game, and it's the same coaching staff that was there under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in it. So I'm not really
Absolutely.
going to overreact to that right now.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, this might be a bit of a lazy question, but the name came up, so I definitely have to ask you. Donny van der Beek, ever since he joined United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has not had the best time. And I will say I didn't see the game against Villarreal, but how did he perform? Because I know that at Ajax he was a very talented player. He was actually looked at by Real Madrid and a couple of other serious teams. So it's surprising to not see him as involved in the Man United setup. You know what I mean? But how did he look against Villarreal? Is he somebody that you could see perhaps getting more minutes going forward?
You know what I say about Donny van der Beek, and I've always said this, yeah? You see, right now, under Michael Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't like Donny van der Beek in the 10 role. The only
Right.
reason I say that is we're not a team that dominates the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Donny van der Beek's best, like, if you look at him in the final third, playing those quick 1-2s and stuff, late runs into the box, that's when you see the best at Donny van der Beek.
Yeah.
So when he's playing in the 10, he doesn't have that luxury, which is why I've always said Donny van der Beek in the pivot right now for United suits him a lot better because then he can pass. Defensively, he does his thing as well. He can get stuck in. That's why I still prefer Donny van der Beek in the pivot. And that's why, for example, against Villarreal, it was a quiet game for Donny van der Beek. I think overall in the game, he only made one pass. He completed 0 out of 1 passes in the final third.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, as well, you got to look at the variables with that. The man hasn't had a run of games for God knows how long. So there's definitely things that come with that. So I personally won't be too harsh on the man. But
saying that against Watford when he came on, he made a massive impact.
We have a bad injury with Ben Chilwell. And it looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the season. He's done his ligaments. And I bring that up because Marcos Alonso will most probably be playing in that left wing back position. Now, United might be looking at that as a position where you're going to focus a lot of your attack down, where you might get a lot of success, because we do know that Alonso is he's quite stifled in his pace and sometimes gets caught out of position. So, like, what can you see on Sunday? Can you see you lot getting the result at the Bridge, or do you think that's a lot to ask from you lot at this moment in time?
Currently, like, you could be one of the best teams in the world and you're facing Chelsea. It's going to be very, very hard to get a result. And we're Manchester United right now. We're struggling big time. So a result, I'll be honest, I'm hoping for a draw, but we always struggle at Stamford Bridge, innit? We always struggle. And Chelsea defensively have been 4 goals conceded in the league so far.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and we're actually chasing our Premier League record actually. So it's if we continue this way, we might even break that record. So this is what I'm saying. This season for Chelsea, as a Chelsea fan, it's just like from going from Lampard to this, it's unreal. It's like I'm still dreaming, sort of thing. What are your sort of expectations still? I mean, it's still early enough for United to get the top 4, because I don't think you'll be absolutely not challenging for the title is out of the question, I reckon. But in terms of getting
we're 12 points away from the title right now.
That's what I mean, and it's November. But that 4th spot, you can still get that. It's still achievable. I mean, can you see yourself, picking up a run of form during the season and perhaps getting that top 4 finish at the end of it?
100%. Because after this Arsenal game, our run until I think is around the end of February is very, very good. Okay. Like, there's not many games that you expect United to drop points in, hopefully, innit? So, which is why, I think we're only 6 points away from 4th right now. I still expect us to get top 4. Now, obviously, the top 3 sides in the league, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, do I expect us to catch them? The answer is no. But 4th is a bare minimum. Hopefully, in the FA Cup, we can get a little run going. And Champions League, I've always said it. I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League, but anything could happen. It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that. It's the luck of the draw, and then when you get to the knockout stages, it's who's the best out of the two games as well. It's not where it's like the league where you've got to play 38 games and prove yourself over 38 games. So 100%, I agree with that. So the bare minimum for you that's acceptable would definitely be top four. I mean, I look at your squad and I look at your history as well. I mean, as bad as Ollie's been, those players have been through some serious runs without taking any L's and getting impressive results. So I can't see. I mean, it's not impossible for that to happen again. Personally, I think that Man United will get that fourth spot. And I think the hiring of Ragnick is definitely going to take you lot up a level. It's not going to show results immediately. These things obviously take time. Do you know what I mean? But going forward, I think a lot of your youth are going to benefit from that and just literally instill the philosophy that's from like the bottom all the way to the top to help the transition of the youth get into the first team. And you've got gems like Greenwood. I mean, you've seen Rashford come through the years. Unfortunately, he has had his injuries and that. But a criticism I had about Solskjaer was I didn't feel like these players were improving under him. I think they were stifled. Can you agree with me or do you disagree with what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. Even, for example, looking at Mason. Has Mason really stepped up from when we first saw him play? The answer is probably no. Same thing with Marcus Rashford. I'm a massive fan of Marcus Rashford on his day, but is he still making the same mistakes in terms of running with his head down? Decision making at times, is it still good enough? The answer is no. And that's when you hope a better coach can kind of iron those mistakes out and make them that finished article as a player, really.
If I'm being 1000% honest with you, I want you lot to put them in their place. I want you to beat Arsenal. You have to beat them. Is it at the Emirates or?
I think it's at Old Trafford.
It's at Old Trafford, definitely.
First home game for Ralph Ragnick. I'll be honest, going into that, I'll be very, very confident.
Yep, I hope so because they need bringing down a notch, their fan base, definitely. But listen, I'm gonna end it there. But thank you very much for joining me, Statman Bains. Like I said, his social details, his YouTube channel is gonna be down there. Definitely check out the brother's channel. There's a lot to learn from him. The way he analyzes football, United in general, it could be very helpful for you to just add a bit to your football knowledge. I learned from him. It's like I say, I'm not ashamed, bro. I watch other people. I learn from everybody. It is what it is. Each one teach one. So this is one of the brothers that I definitely watch. And you're also on Rants and Bants' channel as well, isn't it? Yep. So definitely look out for Statman Bains there as well. But to everybody watching, thank you very much for joining us. In fact, before we go, can I get a score prediction from you?
2-2. Have to hope.
He has to back his team. He's got to hope. I'm going to say 2-0 Chelsea. I still think we're going to clean sheet, get 3 points and move on to the next one. We've just come off the back of an emphatic win against Juventus. I know that's the Champions League, but they're no mugs and it's always good for confidence. But to everybody that's watching, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, man, make sure you stay safe. And to all the Americans and to everyone that celebrates Thanksgiving, make sure you have a safe holiday, yeah? But Statman Bains, thank you very much for joining me, bro. Bless.
Thank you for having me.